Let's start with the reaction from the cackling hens on The View. They said they demonstrate perfectly what I'm trying to say. It's Sarah Haines. Listen to this.
What you're alluding to is kind of what struck me. A ballroom is a symbol of excess and opulence. Mm-hmm. And we're living in a time where those optics just are flying in the face of the reality of the majority of this country. When you look up, he won on making cost of living better, but inflation's up 3%. Yeah. 74% of Americans say they've seen household prices increase by at least $100.
Let's talk about the mayor hopeful himself, Zohran Mamdani. The socialist darling who somehow thinks Manhattan's problem isn't crime, filth, or mass exodus of working people. Roll it, guys.
So a lot of individuals in this city pay more than 50% of their income in taxes. When you talk about a fair share, how much more than, what is the fair share? What's the number?
I've said that we should increase personal income taxes by 2%.
Is fair.
And my point is this:
give up more than half of your income.
If you're making $1 million in New York City, or more than that, you can afford to pay 2% more. And the reasons you can afford to do so.
And then, as if the meltdown over a chandelier wasn't enough, Hillary Clinton decided to post the following: "It's not his house, it's your house, and he's destroying it." Welcome to Stay in the Fray podcast. I'm your host, Ryan. This is where headlines get hit hard, hypocrisy gets shredded, and the absurd are laughed at. If you want comfort, this isn't your place. If you want blunt and unfiltered, I'm your guy. Join me in the fray.
All you gotta do is just listen up.
All right, hey guys. I can feel it in the air. It's this desperation from the left. They're kicking and screaming and clawing at walls, at everything, because the country's doing well and they don't like it. The economy has started to crawl back. Jobs are stabilizing. Private money is flowing. And their instinct isn't to say, well, that's good. They'd rather destroy whoever made it happen. Case in point, Trump's building a ballroom. Privately funded, not a dime of taxpayer money. And is treated like the second coming of Versailles. Meanwhile, New York, the city that wants to find American drive, prosperity, is flirting, well, more than flirting with, but they're flirting with electing a self-proclaimed socialist who wants to drain over half your paycheck and call it progress. We've reached a point where hate for one man and the majority of the country who sees the good in his policies outweighs love for country. They would rather see America fail than admit it's doing better under someone they don't like. This isn't politics anymore. It's mental and emotional collapse. This is Stay in the Fray podcast. It is October 27th, 2025. Let's roll. With New York City, I've been waiting for someone, I know many have for a lot longer than I have, waiting for someone to waltz in and truly make it the greatest city on earth. Not the case. It's going the other direction. And what's scary is that the people there in New York seem to be supporting its downfall. Let's talk about the mayor hopeful himself, Zohran Mamdani, the socialist darling who somehow thinks Manhattan's problem isn't crime, filth, or mass exodus of working people. It's that the rich aren't taxed enough. I'll start with this. Roll it, guys.
So a lot of individuals in this city pay more than 50% of their income in taxes. When you talk about a fair share, how much more than, what is the fair share? What's the number?
I've said that we should increase personal income taxes by 2%.
Is fair.
And my point is this:
give up more than half of your income.
If you're making $1 million in New York City, or more than that, you can afford to pay 2% more. And the reasons you can afford to do so is because that money will be used to better your quality of life as well. Yeah. Because when I speak to the wealthiest New Yorkers, I hear concerns about the cleanliness of the city, the quality of life in the city, questions of public safety. This money is the money that will be used to deliver on those things so that we can ensure that we have a return on investment for all of the money that we are raising and spending right here across the 5 boroughs.
Raising? It's not a fundraiser, dude. There it is. 52%, over half of your paycheck, gone before you even pay rent, groceries, before the city takes its other cut in fees, fines, nonsense. His plan to help the New Yorkers is to bleed the ones still footing the bill. And his reasoning, well, the wealthy, which I don't believe happened, told me that they care about clean streets, infrastructure, all that. Yeah, Zoran, that's called they want you to do your job. That's what city budgets are already supposed to cover. Streets, sanitation, policing, housing. Every one of those departments already has multi-billion-dollar allocation. If they're failing, that's not because billionaires didn't pay enough. It's because the government burned through what it had and still managed to accomplish nothing. You start telling you, Zoran, you start taxing people in New York at over 50%, they're gone. Florida, Texas, pick your state. Anywhere that doesn't treat ambition like a crime. There's a recent poll, I hate to say it that way, but that's how I read it. A recent poll that more than a quarter, 26% to be exact, of New Yorkers would leave if this guy wins. Who could blame? I don't blame him. I don't blame him one bit. You'd be insane to keep building, hiring, and investing in a city that punishes you for success. But it doesn't just hit your wallet. He's playing the fake sympathy card too. And let me tell you how much this got to me. And I got to show you this. He could win a fucking daytime Emmy with this performance. Check it out.
I want to speak to the memory of my aunt, who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab.
So he actually tried to center himself and his aunt as the victims of 9/11. He says his aunt stopped riding the subway because she didn't feel safe wearing her hijab. First of all, look, nobody's minimizing fear or prejudice that's out there. Fair enough. But framing that as the takeaway from one of the darkest days in American history, what's the matter with you, dude? Now we're finding out, thanks to The Times of India, a legit publication, that his aunt didn't even live in New York during 9/11, and she doesn't even wear a hijab. That's not a slip-up. He didn't just misspeak. He fucking lied and used 9/11 and the murder of 3,000 Americans as a prop in a campaign monologue. It's all emotional theater, using trauma you didn't live to build a brand you didn't earn. And that is the danger here, people. It's not just a politician lying. It's a politician trying to reprogram history to fit this ideology. New York, please. This is who's running for mayor. A guy who thinks confiscation equals compassion, and who invents sob stories to sell socialism, and who somehow believes the city that once represented American grit should become a test lab for Marxism. This isn't leadership. It's a scam wrapped in buzzwords and fake virtue. The motto of the modern left. Enough of Zoran. So Trump is building a big, beautiful ballroom at the White House. And all your panties are in a wad. The loud and whiny minority, to them, you'd think it was the end of democracy as a whole. They're going to add this to the list of reasons. The end of times. The media and politicians, they melt down over this, and they make it sound like Trump bulldozed the Lincoln bedroom and replaced it with a casino. Let's start with the reaction from the cackling hens on The View. They demonstrate perfectly what I'm trying to say. And this time, it's not Joy and Sonny or Whoopi or any of these people. It's Sarah Haines. Listen to this.
What you're alluding to is kind of what struck me. A ballroom is a symbol of excess and opulence. And we're living in a time where those optics just are flying in the face of the reality of the majority of this country. When you look up, he won on making cost of living better, but inflation's up 3%. Yeah. 74% of Americans say they've seen household prices increase by at least $100. The unemployment rate is at a four-year high right now. People are struggling to eat, and this was like a wealthy ballroom paid for by wealthy people for wealthy people to come and dance in a ballroom. And like, I know this was private funds, but I can't help but imagine how far $250 million could go for families who can't put food on the table.
Right?
Like, it's just
part. That's what struck me. It's a $50 million project. It's going to be tacky and gaudy. You know that.
I had to let that last part by Sonny. Seriously. That's the reaction, shrill tone from Sarah, pretending a privately funded project is a national emergency. A ballroom paid for again by private donors, not taxpayer dollars. No one's rent just went up because a fucking chandelier got installed. But you never know it from the way that they're crying on daytime TV. Sarah Haines actually called it a symbol of excess and opulence. Yeah, Sarah, so are red carpet galas, award shows, and every party your network hosts during sweeps week. It's funny how luxury is evil only when someone you hate is behind it. Then she starts listing facts. Allow me to retort. Inflation up 3%. Unemployment, the highest in 4 years. People struggling to eat. As if any of that has the slightest connection to a privately funded ballroom. That's the part they can't process. Trump didn't use their money, so they can't control it. And for the record, let's do this. The numbers that Sarah Haines tossed around there were cherry-picked nonsense. Inflation hasn't spiked again. It's fallen from crisis levels that were near 9% in 2022. It's around 3% now. That's called stability. It's not perfect, but it's a long way from the economic firestorm we were living through under Biden's term. And this whole claim that 74% of Americans are paying $100 more a month, who exactly is she polling? The audience in the studio there? Because there's no uniform, measurable way to say everyone's cost of living jumped by the same amount. It sounds ridiculous. Rent in New York isn't groceries in Kansas. That stat was designed to sound scary, not to reflect reality. And if we're talking everyday life, Sarah, gas prices are sitting around $3.07 a gallon nationally, the lowest average we've seen in years, down about 15 cents from last year at this point. That alone tells you that the people can't afford to eat or drive narrative is a little outdated. Unemployment, let's talk about that, sitting at around 4.3%. That is still low by historical standards. And the spike didn't happen until after COVID was part of a recovery. It wasn't some miracle of job creation. Many people had to take 2 or more jobs to crawl back from the record inflation. That's the same inflation, by the way, caused by the crowd now pretending that they fixed it. So even if all of these dramatic numbers from Sarah Haines were true, none of them still have a single thing to do with a privately funded ballroom. Not one. Maybe the energy should be spent asking why billions in public funds for all these concerns that Sarah Haines has disappear every year with nothing to show for it. Take California, $24 billion spent on ending homelessness in the last few years, and the tents still line the streets from LA to Oakland. But a privately funded ballroom, that is the true crisis. Sonny Hostin, like I said, jumped in there at the end, calling out, it's going to be tacky and gaudy in some fucking fake accent. Sonny, the guy, Donald Trump, made a fortune designing towers in every major city on Earth. You're a co-host on a poorly rated midday talk show, and you hens have been yelling about the same shit, same 3 topics since 2016. If anyone's qualified to talk about taste, it's not anyone at your table. You wouldn't know class and elegance if it slapped you across the face. Let's clear something up for the people crying into their soy lattes. The president has every legal and historical right to make upgrades to the White House, especially when they're privately funded. You got it? The building is federal property, yes, but it's also the executive residence. By law, here you go. I know you hate facts. Title 3, Section 110 of the U.S. Code. The president can approve repairs, improvements, and accept private donations to do it. It's not some new loophole that only Donald Trump is using. It's literally how it's always worked. Kennedy brought in private donors for full restoration that Jackie led in the 60s. The Clintons took private gifts for furniture and decor. Obama accepted donations for garden and tech upgrades. It's routine. So when Trump gets private funding for a ballroom, he's not breaking tradition, he's following it. Many presidents actually left their mark on taxpayer dollars, by the way. Teddy Roosevelt built the West Wing. Truman built the entire interior, rebuilt the entire interior. Nixon added a bowling alley. You don't have to like Trump to accept reality. The president is allowed to improve the White House how he sees fit. The difference this time is that taxpayers aren't even footing the bill. So what are you so upset about? Everybody fainting on television. Get this, it is legal, it is funded, and it's happening. Here's some more reality. A ballroom at the White House isn't for dancing, Sarah. It's for diplomacy also. Trade dinners, state visits, charity events. It's where deals happen. That's what scares them, because every chandelier, every handshake, every world leader smiling in that room is proof that things are stable, that the administration isn't the chaos that they've been selling. So instead of admitting that something is good, that something good is being built, with zero taxpayer burden, by the way, they cry dictator and monarchy and all this bullshit because the moment Trump does something great, they lose their favorite storyline. Panic sets in. Desperation on display. And then, as if the meltdown over a chandelier wasn't enough, Hillary Clinton decided to post the following. It's not his house, it's your house, and he's destroying it. Right, Hillary, the woman who literally tried to take furniture and china from our house when she left, is suddenly the guardian of White House integrity. You can't make this up. If it's our house, then maybe stop rooting for whoever's living in it to fail. And as for destroying it, Hillary, let's not pretend that those cleaners weren't working overtime after your husband's extracurricular activities in the Oval Office. Sit this one out, Hillary. Actually, you know what? Sit them all out. You're done. Every time you open your mouth, it just reminds America why we refused to put you back in the White House again. All right, real quick, let's jump back to The View and Sonny Hostin. This, bless her heart, she just says one dumbass thing after another. Check out her most recent race-baiting nonsense. Play it, guys.
As a mother of black children, I know that black boys are not given the presumption of innocence and the presumption of youth. She's calling the police and saying they're trying to steal her car, and they're 11 years old. They don't know how to drive. And so for me, what was interesting was I have had to be in the position where I have gone to my local police department because I know my son is going to be training for the Junior Olympics, running around the neighborhood in an all-white neighborhood. And I have brought him to the police and said, he belongs to me. This is my son. Do not harass him. Do not stop him.
First off, an 11-year-old boy can steal a car without knowing how to drive. That's the thing about criminals. They don't care about being properly licensed. Let's get this straight, Sonny. You live in an all-white neighborhood. You apparently just don't trust the people in it. And your first thought isn't to move or, I don't know, have faith in the community. It's to pre-accuse every cop in town of being racist before they've even said hello. This is the insanity of modern liberalism, really. It's not about equality anymore. It's about finding racism under every rock, in every lawn, in every jogging route, just to feel relevant. These people cannot survive without pretending they are oppressed. And here's the kicker. If she actually believed her own words, she wouldn't live there. Tell us, Sonny, why do you live in an all-white neighborhood? You can't lecture the country about systemic racism from a $3 million house in an all-white neighborhood. You're one big walking contradiction. Maybe, just maybe, the police aren't out hunting your kid. Maybe they're doing their jobs. You know, protecting neighborhoods like yours. Cops patrolling isn't harassment. It's just how civilization works. The truth is, Sonny and her co-hosts have built an entire brand on fear. The race narrative is their currency. Without it, they have nothing to sell. No audience, no outrage, no purpose. And that's why every conversation somehow ends in race, class, or gender. It's a performance. Just like Zoran's fake tears and the left's meltdown over a fucking ballroom. And that's the theme of it all, isn't it? The extremes they'll go to. The crying, the lying, the rewriting. Just to avoid admitting that things are okay. Things are getting better. They've been trained to hate one man and all the people like-minded to his policies. And in the process, they've learned to hate their own country. They can't accept progress because it kills the narrative. They'd rather torch the place than admit it's still standing. The media, the politicians, the activists, they've all gone so far off the deep end that reality doesn't even really register anymore. New York flirting with a socialist mayor is unheard of. The press treating a ballroom like a coup. Talk show hosts turning motherhood into a race war. It's all one big act. Desperate, dramatic, and dangerously detached from the real world. Sadly, people buy into it. But the good news, every time they pull one of these stunts or say one of these dumbass things, more people wake up. Every lie exposes itself, and every tantrum makes the truth louder. It takes another group of people, and it sends them in this direction, towards us. So for that, I suppose I should say thank you. Like, subscribe, comment. Let's keep rolling together. Join me on this. Stay sharp. Stay grounded. Stay fearless. Stay in the fray. I love you guys.
All you gotta do is just listen up.